You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Hey everyone, surprise, I'm here. I know I said last week I wasn't going to be here, and I wasn't planning on being here because I had a outpatient surgery today, but it got postponed. It seems that I'm too big for this world. Yep, they did not have a setup to handle that which is Dan. Yeah, that sounds ridiculous as I thought it did. Yeah, they had to postpone that and get rescheduled for later on. So I thought, well, hell, there's lots of stuff to talk about. We can definitely do shows this week. So I will be here all week doing the shows. Today we are going to talk about She-Hulk from Thursday. Tomorrow we will talk about the latest Rings of Power. And Thursday we got something new to talk about. We got Andor. Andor drops. I guess it's tonight. Andor drops, and it'll be on. It'll be out tomorrow, and then so you guys will have a chance to watch it. And yeah, so that's what we're doing this week. And I got something else we're going to talk about today. Actually, two other things. So let's get started. Dan Wickline Show next. Everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. Like I said, I am here today, even though I wasn't going to be. So let's have some fun. First thing I want to talk about is some news. We got a few bits of news. One is that Eugene Cordero, who you may remember that name, you may not. He was in Loki season 1. He played Casey. Casey was the guy that Loki threatened to gut like a fish. And Casey's response was, all right, I'll help you, but what's a fish? He was also the one that explained that most of the people in the TVA use the Infinity Stones as paperweights. Yeah. So Casey, in the last episode, though, where Eugene Cordero was not listed as Casey in the credits, he was listed as Hunter BK5, I think it was. So, or BK3 or something like that. Well, word came out over the weekend that Eugene is being bumped up to a series regular. Yes, our love of Casey has led to him being promoted and will be a more regular character in season 2. Now, will he be Casey? Will he be Hunter BK5? We don't know. But I just find it interesting that it seems like in most of these shows, there's a side character or a sub character that we as a fan base fall in love with. And then everybody says, oh, we need a show about that person. Yes, let's get more with that person. And if you think I'm kidding, let's roll the Wayback Machine all the way back to WandaVision and how everybody went crazy for Kat Dennings' character and Randall Park's characters. How, oh, we want a show with those two. We want an X-Files with those two. And then we moved on to Falcon and Winter Soldier, and people really liked Danny Ramirez. And then we moved on to Loki, and everybody loved Eugene Cordero. And it just kept going on. Agatha Harkness has her own series now. It just, just keeps going. Just keeps going. We fall in love with these characters and we want to see them. Carl Lumley's character in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh, we want to see more of them. Moon Knight, I think we all just want to see more of his girlfriend, or his ex-wife, excuse me. Miss Marvel, we want to see more with Bruno. Also, we want to see more with the Red Daggers. So it's these little side characters. Yes, Kyle, we're going to talk about it very soon. That's the next topic. So, yeah, Eugene Cordero is bumping up to regular, and we'll see what they do with him. Should be interesting. Oh, I wouldn't say yay yet, Kyle. I don't think I liked it as much as you did, Kyle. All right, so the other bit of news, which is continuing the trend of Warner Brothers doesn't know what the hell they're doing. It was announced that Keanu Reeves is going to team up with the original director of the Constantine movie and do another Constantine movie. 17 years later. I blame Tom Cruise as part of that, because when Top Gun comes out and does billions and is in the top 10 for 17 weeks, then everybody goes, we could do a remake of, or we could do a sequel to, and you've got 35 years of movies that some of them may not even have done that well, and they're like, oh, we could make a sequel to that. Yeah. Buckaroo Banzai, yeah, we could do a sequel. RoboCop, definitely. Any movie that made any amount of money. Because Constantine only made $200 million. Which today's money, that's nothing. That's overall, not just in the first week. Nowadays, that's kind of considered low for a superhero movie. So, but that was 2005 numbers. Goonies 2, 2026. Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing, Green Lantern 2. Ryan Reynolds returns. Though I would love to see Mark Strong as Sinestro. That tease at the end with him going yellow, I actually kind of liked that part of it. And trust me, having seen the original Green Lantern script with the ending that got changed, the original one, what we got in the movie was better than the original script. Trust me. Yeah, Mark Strong was a great part. Michael Clark Duncan as the voice of Kilowog wasn't bad. I like that. There were some bits in it I liked. I think if we hadn't had the CGI suit, I think that would have helped quite a bit. And maybe a little bit better villain that wasn't just a gaseous cloud, which was all the rage then. Hello, Lyle. Welcome to the show. Cool. I saw you earlier too, so I'm glad you're here. Like I said, I know that I wasn't scheduled to be here, but, not even supposed to be here today. So yeah, we're going to get a Keanu Reeves. And the ironic thing is that they were working on a Constantine TV series and a Madame Xanadu or Madame X series, and J.J. Abrams was producing. And, they made this huge $500 million deal with J.J. Abrams to create content, to create movies and TV shows, and they've canceled or passed on just about everything he's done. But now they're passing on those and they're shopping them elsewhere. But J.J. Abrams is a producer on the new Constantine movie with Keanu Reeves. So it's not like they don't want to do business with J.J. Abrams. They just don't want to do the things that he said he would do. So I don't know how this is working. But again, it shows that Warner Brothers doesn't really seem to know what they're doing. The whole thing with Dan Lin fell through. So they still don't have their Kevin Feige. And now there's talks that perhaps the whole idea was, let's just, hold on to Warner Brothers, save some money, make it a little bit better, and resell it. And that's what the word is coming out now. I think it was the Hollywood Reporter did an article that Warner Brothers or Discovery bought Warner Brothers with the idea of reselling it. Now, I have a hard time believing that, because I don't think they would rebrand their name, Warner Brothers Discovery, and do all of the infrastructure stuff they're doing just to sell it again. And they can't sell it till the summer of 2024 anyway, because of the way the purchase was done. But still, that doesn't seem... And then also the whole idea that NBC, which already bought Universal Studios or Universal, would then buy Warner Brothers, and we'd have less and less movie studios. You know, and maybe I'm an old-time Hollywood fan, but the more we lose these studios, the less I like it, you know? You need more diversity, more uniqueness out there. MGM got bought by Amazon. You know, I mean, if Apple came along and bought Warner Brothers, then maybe that would make it okay, because at least it stays itself as a studio. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing over there, and I don't think they know. And I've already done an entire episode on how they should fix Warner Brothers and what they should do. And one of the things I clearly said was, make a plan and come out with it and let people know what you're doing. And instead, they're still all over the frickin' place, and none of it makes sense. You know? But the only good DC news I heard lately, and don't get me wrong, I actually did kind of like the Constantine movie. I had a hard time because it's not the John Constantine we know. And I don't know why everybody wants to change John. What makes him great is the fact that he's an arsehole, that he's just not a good person. And, you know, it works great with Matt Ryan on all the TV shows he's been on, stuff like that. But, you know, oh, Keanu, we better make him American. No one's going to like a blonde Brit. And then they go over and they do, you know, Joanna Constantine and Sandman. It's like, can we just have Constantine? You know? So, yeah. But I do like the fact that Teen Titans, or the Titans show, is getting its own Lex Luthor. And they've casted Titus Welliver, who I'm a huge fan of. And it just shows it's another universe for Titus to be in. He's already Bosch on Amazon Prime, which is a great series. He was just in The Mandalorian season 2 in the first, in one of the early episodes. He's played a member of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the television series. And now he's going to be Lex Luthor on Titans. So he's just popping up everywhere. And I love him. He's a great actor. And happy to see him join the DC universe. So, you know, and they already have Ian Glenn as Batman. So it's definitely an older universe. But that's cool. All right, guys, let's shift into I don't want to get into the show and then talk. So let's go ahead and take our first quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about a show that just debuted last night. So we'll talk about a brand new show right after this break.
Thanks for tuning into The Experience. Help us out and hit subscribe over on YouTube and click the bell when you do. Need some help? Scan the QR code in the bottom corner. Hey, it's producer Kyle. If you like going places where the action never stops, like Las Vegas, the Caribbean, and Atlantic City, then you're probably not who I want to talk to. But if you want to surround yourself with amazing comic books and comic book content made by a devoted group of smart and funny industry insiders, the Experience Members Club was made for you. You can join the Experience by becoming a supporting member of our YouTube channel. You get access to exclusive content that no one else gets, like members-only live streams, pre-sales, one-on-one Q&As with production staff, and other content that's exclusively for members. Plus, for a limited time, if you sign up now, you'll be entered into our giveaway of a slabbed comic book. Just call this 1-8... Wait, hold on. It's 2022. No one makes phone calls anymore. Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen or just visit the membership section of our YouTube page and you'll be on the VIP line of the comic book buffet, baby. Look at the size of those perks. Join today and I'll be saying, who loves you, baby? Me. The answer was me. Get the inside scoop on everything happening at the Experience every week. Join our mailing list by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen and then watching your email inbox.
Everybody, welcome back. We are going to talk about, well, it's a new show, but it's an old show. That's right. We are going to talk about the debut last night of Quantum Leap. Now, Quantum Leap, if you don't know about the original show, it ran from 1989 to 1993. It was a 5-season series. It starred, excuse me, wow, now I'm just zoning on his face. Scott Bakula as Sam Beckett, a scientist who discovered that you could time travel within your own lifetime by leaping into other people. And he did this, but he got stuck and couldn't find his way home. And Dean Stockwell played Al, who could appear to him as a hologram and guide him. And he would have to, wherever he went, it was because something had gone wrong in time, and he had to fix the thing that went wrong, and then he would then leap to another person. All the while, they were trying to figure out how to get him to leap home. Now, it was a pretty simple concept. And what it was is the creator of the series, Donald P. Bellisario, wanted to do an anthology series. He wanted to tell stories about people and, somebody trying to help get them on the right path. But just tell dramatic stories about people and the things that they would have to go through. And anthologies were horribly hated, as they are now. It is really hard to get an anthology series done, whether it's in comics, film, anywhere. One of the classic anthology series was supposed to be Halloween. The first 2 movies were supposed to be Michael Myers. Season of the Witch, the third one, was the next in the anthology, and everybody flipped out and wanted to go back to Michael Myers. Which is why the John Carpenter anthology series became all about Michael Myers. Well, so Bellisario got this idea to do a time jumping series, and that's how it worked. They had some other things in it. Dennis Wolfberg was in it. The late Dennis Wolfberg. Also the late Dean Stockwell, who passed away last year too, who was originally supposed to be part of the new show, but again, he passed away beforehand. Now, there was a conceit in the series that I thought it was a clever idea to use this as the way to move in and out of stories. But it never really was satisfactorily explained why he had to solve these problems before the next leap. What made that happen? So, but it didn't really matter because they didn't really get too much into the science. It was more about the people that he was visiting. It was more about the show that, whatever that subject was. They would just leap in and, oh, it's, this guy who's losing his job and stuff. And if he doesn't help this one group, that thing. It was a decent series. It wasn't, I don't remember it being great. It wasn't must watch for me. I didn't rush home. I mean, and it got moved. Like every season, it got to a new time slot or a new night. So it wasn't like a ratings bonanza, but it has a pretty good cult following. And they decided to kind of, to bring it back. But, and there's word that Scott Bakula was approached to being part of the series and he turned it down. And Dean Stockwell was going to be part of it, and then he passed. So the new series is very connected to the old one. But you could also watch the new series without having to watch the old one, which is smart. Now, the cast is pretty interesting. They got Ernie Hudson, and as soon as you cast Ernie Hudson in the show, you've already got me for at least the pilot. Okay, Ernie Hudson has been a great actor since I first saw him in Ghostbusters. I've liked him in just about everything. He brings a lot to the table. And he plays Herbert Magic Williams, and he runs this thing. And the whole idea is that there's a government-backed think tank or project to put back together what they had done with the original Quantum Leap. Okay. And also they kind of want to find Sam because Sam never makes it home in the first series. And it's kind of controversial because when the series came to an end, they weren't sure if there was going to be a season 6 or not. So the studio, told them, well, write an ending that could work as either a season finale or a series finale. And they wrote an episode, and then they put 2 cards at the end when they found out they weren't being renewed. One was about Al, and the other was about Sam. And it basically said that Sam Beckett never made it home, which is an absolutely heartbreaking way to end a series. You spend 5 years following this guy who is doing nothing but trying to help people, and you end it with him. No, he never got his reward. He never got home. Oh, hey, Sean, Kenneth, glad you guys are here. So that's what they're going into this series with, is the idea that Sam never made it home and that Al had just recently passed. Now, we find out that this team that's doing this is being run by a Dr. Ben Song, who's played by Raymond Lee. And there's also Addison Augustine, played by Caitlin Bassett. Now, we find out that Caitlin was supposed to be the leaper and Ben wasn't. Kind of interesting. But for some reason, Ben got in. Ben ends up going, and it's like they're at a party, and he leaves the party and goes, stunning everybody on the crew. And the rest of the crew, there's Jen Chow, played by Nanarisa Lee, as the security for the operation. Mason Alexander Park, who was just in Sandman, was also in Cowboy Bebop, plays Ian Wright, who's the computer expert on this. And like I said, Caitlin Bassett, Ernie Hudson. And then there's this wild card character played by Georgina Riley, who plays Janice Calavici, Al's daughter, who wanted to be part of the project, but was denied because they thought she was too emotionally attached to it. So that's the setup, is that for some reason, Ben goes in and leaps when he's not supposed to, and somehow Janice is connected to this. And I just forgot the name again. Addison is supposed to be the leaper, and now she's the owl and is trying to help him. Okay. I'm not going to get into what the first story is because it just aired last night. And I don't want to do spoilers. Just giving you the setup for the series. What I didn't like about it is that the first one was basically this, like I said, anthology series where each week was about the person that he leaps into or the effect that person has. And it's a new group of characters, and Owl pops up and just kind of helps him along as he tries to figure out what he's supposed to do. But otherwise, it's about that scene, that scenario. What we got last night, there was more intrigue and mystery evolving around the team that built this setup than anything having to do with the actual people in where he leaped to. I should use the word leap since it is Quantum Leap. They also tried to use the terminology for quantum. Basically, they explain quantum entanglement. And they do a good job, except for they don't actually refer to it as quantum entanglement. It's on NBC, but it's also streaming on Peacock the next day. So it aired last night, so you can get it on Peacock today. Quantum entanglement is the idea that once two particles are... oh, hey, Pablo. Once two particles become connected, no matter how far apart you separate them, they're still connected. And this is the basis for a lot of quantum scientists, including quantum cryptography. It's like a password thing. So if something happens, you take these two particles and you entangle them, and then once you separate them, anything that happens to this one over here changes this one over here. They're permanently entangled or connected. And that's what they try to say, but they don't use the right terminology. And it bugged me for most of the episode. And so that threw me off. But again, it was so much about the team. Well, no, but this was more... Pablo makes a good point. Quantum entanglement leap doesn't roll off the tongue, but it's not so much that the name, it's they were just trying, Ben was trying to explain his connection to somebody else and was using quantum entanglement as a way to describe it. But again, they didn't use that terminology. They used just something else, and it didn't quite work. But it was quantum entanglement. But so a lot of the show was about the mystery, well, why did Ben leap? Ben wasn't supposed to be the one leaping. Who is Janice? What is it? And there was so much drama having to do with the cast of characters in the now. One of them tries to quit because they felt they didn't do their job. And you gave me a chance when I nobody else would. And I don't care about this character. We didn't get that deep into all the other characters. We didn't get into, Dennis Wolfberg's character that deep. He should have been 4 episodes. It's not supposed to be about the cast of characters in the now. It's supposed to be about, Sam or Ben, who he's leapt into, and the scenario. Yeah, like I said, Pablo. I'm doing my best not to do spoilers. So they went halfway up on the science. Yeah, like I said, they used the right idea of quantum entanglement, but they called it something else, which I don't know why they would call it something else. But again, that's just my pet peeve. That's not, good or bad on the show. But then when it came time for the resolution of what's happening in the past with Ben, it became like an action movie. It was suddenly punching and stunt driving and all of these things that he can't do. Suddenly he's doing. They don't give you an explanation for that. We still don't get an explanation of why he has to resolve the problem before he can leap. So they've put so you ended up, like I said, with this action sequence ending. And so it didn't feel like Quantum Leap to me. It didn't feel like the show. And like I said, I didn't watch all of the Quantum Leaps. I didn't watch all 97 episodes, but I watched enough of them to know that it was as Pablo has a great explanation here, or a description. He says it's supposed to be a great history lesson each episode with a Roddenberry tinge. That's great. That is a beautiful explanation of it. I wish I would have thought of that myself. And, and that's not what we got. We got a hint at something that didn't actually happen, but might, they took a moment in history, twisted it, and then gave us this action movie. And I came out of it like, I don't care. I didn't feel like, with Sam, you wanted Sam to get home and felt for him when he didn't. With Ben, you're like, well, you got yourself here. Why do we care? So, hey, Chuck.
So Dan, this is why I wanted you to watch the show.
Uh-huh.
Because I wasn't sure if I liked it or not.
Uh-huh.
I watched it. I'm like, this doesn't feel the same as the original show, but it doesn't feel different enough to say, okay, it's different.
Right.
It's like, we want to take these parts we liked from the original show and these new parts and mash them together. And it's like trying to mix two different flavors of soup together and getting a weird combination that's not good, but not bad. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how I felt about it. I really do think that Ernie Hudson is going to carry my interest at least a couple more episodes. But yeah, it was really weird.
Okay, at this point, we might want to just give this show to Pablo. He says you need a moral decision point with explanation. They force a moral decision point in. And it didn't feel natural.
I'm willing to chalk the first episode up to it's a pilot.
But it's a pilot to spend a lot of time setting up stuff that the original series didn't need.
Right. Like I said, I'm willing to chalk the first episode up to it's a pilot and mistakes were made.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to get a pilot made so that the show could get picked up. But in order to do that, they had to do some stuff that they won't ever do again.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing, is that we spent so much time with the rest of the cast. It's like, that's why the thing now bugs me of, well, why does he have to solve this problem before they can leap again? Why is that? And if this is a future version, you think they would have figured that part out and fixed it, because it seems like they're just using the exact same technology Sam had. They haven't improved on it at all. So what was the whole theory?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm willing to give them that was a pilot, so it wasn't a perfect episode forgiveness.
Yeah.
I'm only willing to do that for maybe 2 more weeks. So I was hoping that you would have a strong opinion on it one way or the other to kind of satisfy my questions. because there's not enough Scott Bakula to keep me in regardless.
Guys, I want you to know the message I got wasn't, hey, I watched this show. I don't know how I feel about it. Are you going to watch it? And will you, it was, what did you say, Kyle? Hey, you should watch this because it might be a good show to cover weekly on the channel.
Right. It might be, but it also might not be. Like, it was one of those things, like, I'm watching it when I'm texting you going, I think this might be good. And then it ends in such an unsatisfying way.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we'll cover it and then be like, this is why we shouldn't be covering it.
Well, the thing is that there's a moment where they go, here is the responsible way to end the episode. Picking up a phone. That's all it takes. Responsible, safe way to do it. And they went, no, let's go action movie ending instead.
And there were parts of the original series that were like that, but
Yeah.
it was like a 50-50 split where
it wasn't even 50-50.
No, that's true. Some episodes were action hero-y endings, and some episodes weren't.
Pablo, it wasn't a bad ending. Let me say that. See, the thing is that, and everybody who's thinking about watching it, if it wasn't named Quantum Leap, I would have different feelings about the show. The main character is charismatic. He's engaging. You feel for him. The situation he's in, all of that. There is a decent show being presented. Good characters, kind of curious what's going on. Is it a true follow-up to Quantum Leap? That's where the problem comes, is that they're using the name and the conceit without using the actual desire that Donald Belisario had to create an anthology series that, as Pablo said, taught us a bit of history and gave us a little Roddenberry tinge, So it doesn't really feel like Quantum Leap, but it feels like we're just they're borrowing Quantum Leap. It's Spider-Man and Doctor Strange's cloak. That might be what you like. That might be your favorite part of the What If series, but it's still Spider-Man and Doctor Strange's cloak.
It's the same concern I have for the remake they're doing of Night Court.
Yes.
There's something inherently special about the original Night Court.
Yes.
That if you don't do it just right, you can't replicate.
But they do have John Larroquette back, so that's the one thing they have in their favor. And
my thing is that is the innate charisma of Harry Anderson.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and it's the same, I think, I made this joke earlier, but it's the same charisma that Scott Bakula has. It just kind of oozes out of him. And I don't know that the main actor in this has that. But at the same time, I don't think one episode is enough to judge.
But yeah, and that's the thing, is he might. But we spent so much time with the other characters that we never bothered with in the original series. I mean, we saw the lab, I think, in the pilot and the ending, and that's, overall, we just got Al popping up and we had Scott. That was it. That's all we needed. Because the story was about that individual episode, where they were. Now it's like, now we got to wonder what's Janice's involvement. Is the government going to shut them down? Why was nobody hiring the security chick or lady? Why was she such a risk to hire? What's this new? I mean, there's all this other stuff, these other mysteries they felt they needed. It's like rebooting the Golden Girls. Okay. It's like rebooting the Golden Girls, but it's as a group of elderly private investigators. By the way, a group of elderly private investigators, I may have to do something with that. That actually could work.
What's that movie, Going in Style? With Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman and...
Oh, that might be, yeah.
If those guys were actually James Bond, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I want that movie now.
Pablo said, did the ending match the character in historical perspective, or did it go meta? It's hard to say because, like I said, it went action movie ending, and it didn't fit Ben's character. You know, it's like if Scott Bakula had leapt into a sniper and the episode had him doing a kill shot from 200 yards away, you'd be like, well, wait a minute. Sam Beckett doesn't know how to do that shot. You know? JD says, Jay says, it sounds as if they were afraid they wouldn't be picked up without the name Quantum Leap. Yeah, there's a good chance. You know, and that is what it is. It's like rebooting the Golden Girls. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. That's all I'm going to say about that. It wasn't a bad episode. I may actually check out future ones, but it's not must-see watch for me. It doesn't feel like Quantum Leap. Could it be a good show? Sure. There's some good actors in there. Ernie Hudson, Mason Alexander Park. I mean, it's just, there's some good people in the show, and it could be something very good. But if you're calling it Quantum Leap, then it needs to embrace what Quantum Leap was a little better. And it didn't in the first episode. Maybe it will going forward. We can hope, right? All right. Let's let's go ahead and take our other commercial break, and then we'll spend the rest of the episode talking about She-Hulk. Okay? So we'll be right back.
This is The Experience.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey there. Hi there. Oh there. You're as welcome as can be.
Hi, I'm Nancy McCann. Welcome to Friday Night Live on The Experience.
Welcome, everybody. It's Fat Jack's Comic Crypt. Brendan, Al, Jason, hanging out.
There I am. Welcome back to Kicking It with Henry, folks. I am your host, Henry Copeland. It's great to be here with you guys.
So we are going to talk about books that are in stores this week.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Mishmash.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Comics Universe, presented by Peep Game Comics.
And you gotta love it that the first people in the minute to skim it are creators.
Up, everybody! Welcome to another Wednesday Warriors. My name is Joey Galvez, and this is my pal Ambrosia.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Space Cadet.
Hey!
What's up?
Welcome, everyone, for another episode of I Must Ask You a Question.
Hi, everybody! Welcome to Nerd News Now.
Hey, this is Rex. Welcome to Comic Collectibles.
Hey, hello, all you happy people. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the crazy show that we do on Thursdays called What's in the Box? What's in the Box?
Comic culture and sales.
Hi, my name is Brian Phillipson, co-writer on Weed Magic and co-founder of Bliss on Tap Publishing and home of Duel, and you're watching The Experience.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. We are talking She-Hulk today now. And Triple B says, I am enjoying She-Hulk way more than I thought I would. However, WandaVision is still my favorite. I think that's going to be the answer for most people. because I think She-Hulk is enjoyable. It is a good show. It is funny. I don't think it's the best Marvel show. I don't think anybody's going to come out and say, oh, well, this has been my favorite. But so I think everybody's going to have their favorite Marvel show. But I think this, if you can look past all the BS, then, if you can look past all the BS that's come up because of people who didn't want a female-led show or the twerking, or just put all that aside, it's a good show. So, Pablo, I don't remember who did that music. I got it off of a royalty-free site called Ben Music. So, but I don't remember off the top of my head who that is. But Ben Music is actually a really cool site if you need royalty-free music. They have some really good tunes. I've used them for a couple projects. So, let's see. Yeah. Jay asked, do I have a show you'd recommend? Just off the top of my head, I watched something this weekend that I binge watched that I didn't know existed. If you guys are fans at all of Adam Ruins Everything, he has a new show produced by the Obamas called The G Word. And it gets pretty deep into how the government works, both the good and the bad. And I found it to be a really high production value and an interesting, humorous, and horribly scary show. So that's on Netflix. If you want something kind of interesting to watch, that'll teach you about the government and also scare you about the government, be worth watching. Chuck says he recommends watching Snooker. I'm not familiar with that. I'm going to have to look that up. But hopefully that's something. The Rook was a good show. Okay. Sci-fi. The Rook. All right, let's talk. We got a few minutes. We could talk about She-Hulk. I had meant to do more on She-Hulk today, but we got so deep into Quantum Leap. Wow, that rhymed. This latest episode was interesting to me because it gave weight to earlier episodes. We had the whole thing, the episode with Donnie Blaze and Wong and Madison, with two N's and a Y, but not where you think. And I thought, okay, that's the big thing. The dating is just kind of filler. We're getting an idea. It's the whole, sitcom-y thing. And and I thought, well, it's, kind of a throwaway thing, but why, and then I saw Todd and how weird Todd acted about wanting to know about vibranium skin, puncturing her skin. And I thought, okay, if this is all a setup, we find out he's working for whoever the big bad is, that makes sense. But they used this episode to make all of that become relevant when she has to go up against Titania for the right to use the name She-Hulk, which it's kind of making this show more interesting to me because we're watching as a person who has no intentions of becoming a superhero gets these powers. And unlike just about every other character that we've met in the MCU so far, kind of who's embraced what, and then become a hero or become a villain, or she's been like, I don't want this. I just want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer. And it's slowly her starting to embrace these things, and accept the name that she's been given as She-Hulk. So that, I think, is an interesting journey that we've not really seen much of before. And then you add in the fact that you do have this subplot that somebody tried to get her blood, and we're not sure if we're seeing more of that or if it's just, we did this here and then we're going to forget about it for a while. So I still think that Todd might be a plant, that he's working for whoever that is, but that's just a side thing. We don't know that yet. But so you have that subplot, and then you have the subplot of the B plot of Pug and I want to say Ginger, but that's her real name. Nikki. Pug and Nikki going first to get the Iron Man 3s, which they teased. That's the thing I'm really loving about this show, is they're teasing all this stuff in advance. It's like we saw the ad for the Iron Man 3s. Okay, that's just a random ad. It's a neat little Easter egg. Nope, turns out it's what gets them to the drip broker, Alonzo, which then gets them to Luke, which would get her to her costume that she's going to wear, clothing that'll actually work, and then we're going to end up with, her meeting Daredevil. So, again, they do these little things that you think are just throwaways, and then it's like, no, we're just setting that up for later. Again, which is why I think Todd is connected. Oh, Ed says, sorry I missed your show, Dan. Had storms going through. Had to power down the laptop. I'll be sure to rewatch it tonight. Okay, Ed. Well, I'm glad you're okay. I hope the storms aren't bothering you too much. So yeah, I really liked that fact. I thought Luke was interesting because it's kind of introducing, and Jay, help me with the name here. Is it Edna from The Incredibles with the glasses and makes the costumes?
Edna Mode?
Yes, Edna Mode. So they've kind of introduced their own Edna Mode in this guy, Luke, who I think is interesting. And he got his own character poster, so I think he's more than a one-off. And, a lot of people are like, well, why is Daredevil going to the West Coast? Why is Luke making a costume for him? Why is it yellow? What's the story going to be? Like, there's going to be some big dramatic thing. Or it could just be something as simple as Matt Murdock has to come to the West Coast for something. Can't bring his costume with him because how are you going to check that with TSA? So instead, he contacts this guy on the West Coast that's makes costumes. He says, hey, this is, I'm going to pick it up. Da-da-da. This is Daredevil. I need a Daredevil costume. And Luke, of course, could not stand the idea of just doing a one red suit. So he added some color flair to it. That could totally be the excuse. But we'll have to see when we finally get Daredevil. There is one neat little cameo, sort of. There's a character that when She-Hulk walks in to get fitted for her appointment, she walks by an actor who, it looks like it's Brandon Stanley. And he's carrying a garment bag over his shoulder, and he gets in the elevator. Well, Brandon Stanley is supposed to be playing Eugene Patillo. Eugene is the Frogman. So it's possible we got to see the Frogman already. Whether he was picking up the costume for his dad, who was the original Frogman, or if he was picking up his own costume, we're going to find out. So, yeah. So that was a neat little scene as well. I think Luke's going to be an interesting character. I can't wait to see what they do with her in those, because she's always been wearing these like oversized big and tall men's clothing that don't fit her well. So it'll be neat to see her wearing clothes that fit her and that will stretch enough to go between because that also makes for more interesting story. Maybe makes her a little more willing to do the shift, because in the comics it gets to the point where she prefers to stay as She-Hulk. She rarely switches back to Jen. So will they go in that direction with the character, or will they try to do a balance between them? But we still have the overarching story of who's trying to get her blood that we have to resolve. And we're now 5 episodes in. We're going to get number 6. So they do need to move that story forward. But we're also, like Titania was in the first episode. She's been kind of playing along over all the episodes, whether it's just in news stories or whatever. And now we're getting her a full episode of her. But they're not punching it out. And that's the thing, is that we've only seen her. We saw her fight Hulk in the first episode, and we saw her punch Titania, and we see her take on the Wrecking Crew, and that's it. that's the extent of her action scenes. Everything else has just been a lawyered comedy. So it's given us exactly what they said they would, which is great. You know, they said we're going to do kind of a sitcom lawyer show, and that's what we're getting. And for that, it's playing it well. Now, it did seem kind of weird to me, though, that we didn't get an end credit scene. We got 4 episodes with end credit scenes, and none of them were all that important. I mean, they were joke scenes. So we get to the 5th one and we don't. And I think the reason is because they really wanted to leave us with that image of Daredevil's helmet in the hat case. I think that's what they wanted to leave us with. And maybe that was originally going to be the end credit scene, but they didn't want anybody to miss that. So they moved it up. Oh, the Demons with Wong. You're right. There was another fight scene. Yes. But that's the thing is that, yeah, you don't think about those. And normally in a show, an action show, you think action scene to action scene. But yeah, I forgot about that one. Yep. So, yeah. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, so that's why I think we didn't get that is, you know, maybe that was going to be the end credit scene. And then they moved it up into the show so that, but, you know, there was supposed to be more scenes with Pug and Nikki. So that's why the episode got really cut down, which is why it was, I think, the shortest episode yet. Now, will the next one be a little longer? Are we going to get Daredevil next? Will he be saved? Will they tease him a little more? I like to see them tease him a little more. I like to wait, you know, maybe we get another something going on and we get some more of the backstory thing. And then we get to Daredevil, because we've had a lot of guest stars. And if you think about it, episode 5 was the first one without any guest stars. No Abomination, no Wong, no Hulk. We got one episode that's just about Jen, you know, and all the guys that she had gone out with, and Titania, and it was just this show, and we get the tease of Daredevil. But I'd like to see them do another one before we get another guest star. I don't want it to be all about guest stars, even though they've joked about that. But all right, so we'll get a new one. That tomorrow we'll talk about the Rings of Power, and Thursday we'll talk about the new Andor series. So. Thank you, Lyle. Have yourself a good day, sir. And we're going to wrap that up here. We're going to be passing on to what's in the boxes next, I believe. Is that correct?
Skim It.
Minute to Skim It. Yes.
And then us.
Right. So tonight we're going to have Minute to Skim It with Miss Jen and her crew going over the latest comics. And then Kyle, Jay, and I will be back to talk comics at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to talk about the new Bloodshot Unleashed and a bunch of new books. Crashing, The Roadie. There's a lot of new books this week you might want to check out. So come back with us in a few hours, and we'll tell you about those books and what we think were good and what we think you should avoid. So stick around. We will see you guys later tonight. Have a good one.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.